Hi. So happy beginning to summer. I have attended a webinar called Fluency Matters, What Science Says About Rating Success, and it was presented by Dr. Tim Rosinski. And what he said about fluency and word harvesting was, and this is the science behind his whole webinar, but he talked about how fluency is more than speed and accuracy, which we know, and that it's the bridge to comprehension, helping students become confident and motivated readers. Many of our students struggle with this, and they have more of a robotic type reading, and they're so busy decoding that they lose the fluency and prosody of reading. So this is the chart that he put up talking about the foundation and then where that goes to fluency and prosody and then comprehension is the final goal for reading. So he also talked about how by fourth grade, nearly half of fourth grade readers have not achieved even a minimally acceptable level of reading fluency. And that fluency can be taught, and that effective instruction in fluency leads to overall improvements in reading. So he talked about word harvesting and what that looks like. And he said that teaching is the process of making visible that which is normally invisible. Again, talking about how many of the words that are in elementary and preschool literature are words that are not normally used in conversation, or they're synonyms for other words that they might know, and they don't even realize it. And when I send out this slideshow, if you want to read the entire article, you can click on the title. So word harvesting is a simple method to help make these fabulous words found in trade books, poetry, and song lyrics and written texts more visible to students. So I copied and pasted this from his slide. And as you could see, even esteemed professors make errors in their writing. So what I wanted to do was look at this body of research and decide how this could be used in our center. So as we know, the Barton stories have very obscure language choices in them. And so we can use this type of method starting in level 5. You can always pull out words from levels 3 and 4 for meaning and discussion. However, true fluency begins at level 5 after students have been taught the spelling rules and the syllable division strategies. So he suggested having a word wall, not the traditional word wall that you've heard about, but a kind of a symbolic word wall. And for our purposes, we'll choose 2 words that you want to teach and let the student have autonomy and choose 2 words that they struggle with. And it's encouraged to find a child-friendly definition for the words you choose so that they can apply it to their life and talk about the base word if there are prefixes and suffixes and how that changes the base word meaning. So I pulled out a story from the Barton book or level 5. And so it's the camping trip. And these are some things that my students have struggled with, like knowing what does the big one even mean? And how do you emphasize that to mean like the biggest fish? And then what does dim actually mean? How do you use that in a sentence? How does that apply to their life? What in the world is a banjo? Some kids don't have never even heard of that word. And then what does the bed of the truck mean? Does it mean you actually put a bed in the back of a truck? So then it's encouraged to read the passage 4 times and talk to the students about how this is practice. Like you wouldn't go and play soccer without practicing. You wouldn't go and stand in front of 1,000 people for a play without practicing the script. So this is repeating reading, not only when they struggle, but just repeated reading. And if they can read it perfectly, that's fine. They can practice it again and work on their prosody, work on their phrasing, but at least read the same passage 4 times. It doesn't have to be 4 consecutive times, but 4 times so you can keep track. So on your student progress report, this is where you would put the title of the passage that you're reading. And then here you can keep track of the book, the words that you want to pull out of the text. And then also, Mary wanted me to let you know that we have the Mega Book of Fluency, which is written by Dr. Rosinski. And we have this at the center if you'd like to use it. There are lots of fluency examples in there and things that you can use to practice fluency, some poetry and things like that. And then you can also, if you're not finding what you need in the Barton stories, you can use the same skill level story in the You Fly collection. Make sure that it only has words that you've taught the skills for though. So that's what I learned in this fluency webinar. Thanks for listening.